Why is a lot of anime so inappropriate?
A lot of anime is considered inappropriate because Japanese and American cultures are just so different. In Japan, a father being naked and bathing with his daughters comes off as just what good wholesome parents do with their children. It's inconceivable that anything inappropriate could happen in such a situation. In America, we've been taught to think about all kinds of inappropriate actions that could be taking place. If a father gets naked with his daughters, child services could get called in, those children could get taken away from their parents, and the dad might get permanently registered in a sex offender database. In Japan, magic in anime is understood to be pure fantasy, and it's just inconceivable that anime magic has any reality to it. Each and every child and adult knows that no part of it is real. In America, parents are somehow worried that anime magic could be teaching children how to summon and worship the devil. Anime doesn't shield children from pain and death as much as American children are expected to be shielded. Even in shows for pre-teens, anime characters that get beaten up will bleed, feel pain, and even die. When American cartoons show characters beating each other up, characters often bounce right back. They often keep right on fighting, cracking jokes the whole time. The three pictures are scenes that were called inappropriate by various parts of America at some point. What's perfectly appropriate in one culture can be inappropriate when imported to another culture. All three of those scenes are decades old by now. Over time, some Americans demanded that importers stay true to the original. More recent anime is more often made with an international audience in mind, and internet use has helped cultures move closer together, but a bunch of old anime was considered inappropriate for merely being from a different culture, and the impression of anime being inappropriate just stuck. What do Titanic, The Parent Trap, John Wick, Lord of the Rings and Nymphomaniac have in common? They are all movies. However, you wouldn't show Nymphomaniac to a child, would you, you sick bastard? Generally, people who claim that a lot of anime is inappropriate are not familiar with anime. Like movies, anime has many types and genres. The most common 5 types focus on specific demographic. Kodomomyuk, aimed at children 10 years and under. Moralistic, feel-good stories. Example, Doraemon, Hello Kitty. Shonen, aimed at teen boys, usually action, adventure, fighting heavy. Example, Dragon Ball, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece. Shoujo, aimed at teen girls. Often focuses on romance and interpersonal relationships, a lot of times there is a female lead. Example, Nana, Sailor Moon, Ouran High School Host Club. Seinen, aimed at boys in their late teens and adult men. More violent and psychological in nature, may also contain elements of nudity. Example, Tokyo Ghoul, Ghost in the Shell, Akira. Josei, aimed at older teenage girls and adult women. More mature storytelling, and can be sexually explicit. Example, Loveless, Paradise Kiss. Then you also have different genres: action, adventure, comedy, drama, slice of life, fantasy, magic, supernatural, horror, mystery, psychological, romance, sci-fi, hentai. And subgenres. Game, protagonists play games, card games, board games, puzzle games, virtual online games. Eki, sexual innuendos and abundance of upskirt shots. Demons, monsters, beasts, ghosts, and all other types of demons. Harem, male loser gets adored by a bunch of super hot girls. Martial arts, hand-to-hand combat, swordplay, characters just hitting each other. Historical, typically set in feudal Japan. Hentai, tentacles and all that stereotypical hardcore stuff. Isekai, protagonist gets transported to a different world. Military, pew pew. Space, pew pew but in space. Mecha, Transformers, but cooler and with better acting. Music, you're in a band, Harry. Parody, you need to watch a lot of anime to watch this. Police, underpaid, struggling policemen. Cyberpunk, a glance into, typically, dystopian future. Post-apocalyptic, destroyed world, almost extinct life, aka world post-global warming. Reverse harem, a girl gets hit on by a bunch of hot guys. School, student life. Yuri, girl x girl action. Yaoi, boy x boy action. Shoujo AI, PG version of Yuri. Shonen AI, PG version of Yaoi. Sports, they play sports. Superpower, Marvel, but Japanese. Tragedy, angst and tears. Vampire, cute boys and girls with fangs. Etc. Anime covers wide range of genres, topics and subjects, and each genre and subgenre has its own characteristics that makes it unique. Not all anime is appropriate for kids. Claiming that a lot of anime is inappropriate is akin to saying that a lot of films are inappropriate just because you watched a Lars von Trier movie once. 2 main reasons. 1. A lot of anime is meant for a mature audience. Take Goblin Slayer. This infamous scene from the beginning of the show ends exactly like you would expect it to for the young woman. Highly inappropriate for children, despite technically not showing nudity. But it's not actually for children. Think of it like an animated Game of Thrones. 2. What is considered appropriate is highly dependent on culture. Take this scene from Crayon Shin-chan. The main character has drawn an elephant face on his genitalia and is now dancing around in the nude. This is from a children's anime. But in Japan, childhood nudity isn't seen as being as inappropriate as in the West. Different cultural norms. Curiously enough, childhood nudity was similarly seen as being highly innocent in the West at one point. Lewis Carroll, the author of Alice in Wonderland, used to take photographs of naked children. At the time, a popular subject for Christmas cards. Of course, I can no longer reproduce his work here. Whether you take offense to this or not is down to you, but I feel like the only people who believe this have no idea what they're talking about. Anime is stereotyped as this weird thing full of porn, half-naked girls and big-titted cartoon characters for losers with no lives. Anyone outside the community with these beliefs generally has never watched more than 2 anime, or not many in the grand scheme of things. They only see the stereotypical stuff. But anime is no different to video games, films, or even books on Amazon. There are so many different genres for different people of all ages. I love The Disastrous Life of Seiki K. I consider it a real masterpiece for its refreshing comedy, style, characters, and plot. It's an anime that doesn't rely on fan service, inappropriate behavior in general, or anything obscene or provocative to get your attention. Sure, it takes the piss out of tropes and makes an absolute mockery of cliches in other shows, but it's classy and anyone, even teenagers, can watch it without parents feeling like it's inappropriate. I can sit here all day writing about anime that are just like this. These anime don't get stereotyped though, because it doesn't help promote the agenda some people have when they claim anime is inappropriate and it's bad for children or whatever their bullshit agenda is. Propaganda is mainstream after all, but the truth is not. And then there are anime that are considered inappropriate because of all the flesh that's exposed, fan service, the characters' outfits, the dialogue, or whatever else that makes something inappropriate. Kill la Kill is one of those anime, more so for an outsider who's ignorant and doesn't understand the deep context of this show. And why there's so much skin in the first place. But that's besides the point. The point is, if you want to watch inappropriate anime, you can. Just like entertainment in general. That's why there's a whole genre called eki. And some shounen and comedy have things that are along the lines of inappropriate, depending on how strict you are with the definition. And if you want to watch something that's thought-provoking, powerful, educational, engaging, or any other buzzword, you can find plenty of that as well. Usually in the psychological, action, seinen genres. And so many others. Anime is about as inappropriate as you want it to be if you go looking for it. And vice versa. Just like regular films, TV shows, cartoons, and video games. Simple as that. As others have mentioned, you have different cultural norms at the root of it. Anime and manga are both storytelling venues that originate in Japan, so they tend to reflect what is acceptable for the range of ages that consume anime and manga. Manga is simply a visual storytelling, or even instructional, medium, and it gets used for everything from cute stories for kids to instructional stories for adults, golfing, cooking, etc. When it comes to anime though, you will see some things in anime that seems to target a younger audience yet may include nudity or some rather insensitive topics. You might find some offensive racial stereotypes or decorative English thrown in which is quite offensive to native English speakers. What you may find offensive is either not offensive or borderline in Japan. It originates primarily in your cultural expectations. In short, that anime was not intending you as the target audience. I have noticed some improvements in this as Japanese society has become more sensitized to sexual harassment and now power harassment. There is a lot of anime that has been around for many decades, and it is entirely possible some shows that once featured some prurient content no longer do. In short, you shouldn't for one moment equate Japanese anime with American cartoons. If your small child is interested in anime, then you should do a little homework to make sure what they want to see is appropriate.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future also. Don't forget to like and subscribe to you never miss a video.